ABC 10 News at 5 starts right now.
ABC 10 News at 5 starts now.
San Diego is falling into the purple tier. Good evening, I'm Lindsay Pena.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. It is a pitfall that many hope to avoid, but now we are just days away from some crippling changes. We have a team of reporters working all the angles for you, but we start with our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura tonight. The county blames the spike in cases more on COVID fatigue rather than a specific location or an event. Anthony.
That's right, Steve. Now, as you mentioned, there is a large increase in the case rates, and the county analysis says that workplaces and home transmissions are key contributors to the spread, but at the end of the day, they can't solely point their fingers at those factors, saying that it comes down to the way people are behaving. They're letting their guard down as this pandemic goes on.
People are just fed up, and we understand that. We are too, to be quite honest with you. But we have to stay the course, and we have to do what we know works to help decrease the spread of COVID-19.
Here's what we can expect as we enter the purple tier. Here's a list of what can be open outdoors only. That includes places of worship, movie theaters, playgrounds, museums, gyms, zoos and aquariums, restaurants, wineries, family entertainment centers, and card rooms. Now here's what's partially open in the purple tier. K through 12 schools will do distance learning if they're not already open in person. Retail stores and indoor malls will be open to 25% capacity. No food courts and common areas will be open in those indoor malls. Offices will be pushed towards working remotely. Professional sports can continue without live audiences. And here are the things that are closed in the purple tier: bars, breweries and distilleries, live audience sports, and amusement parks. Now we can expect to stay in the purple tier for at least 3 weeks, but county officials saying it could take longer depending on how long it takes for us to get those COVID-19 metrics down. We're reporting live tonight. Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Anthony, thank you. Here are the latest numbers from our county. 483 new cases were reported today. That brings our total to more than 61,000. There were 7 new deaths reported, bringing that total to 915.
San Diego restaurant owners forced to close their doors for the 3rd time since March. Some say they won't survive. ABC 10 News reporter Rachel Bianco has why one owner says moving outside is not an option.
Pushkin Russian Restaurant and Bar sits on 6th Avenue in the heart of the gas lamp. Now forced to shut down yet again, owner Ike Gazarian says he may close for good.
I would rather close my restaurant than do outside only during winter. During summer it was okay. During winter is not going to sustain.
Under the purple tier, indoor dining isn't allowed, but Gazarian says outdoor dining isn't a realistic option either.
We have a really big homeless problem, and this problem had evolved into a crisis at this point after the COVID.
He says since the pandemic, the homeless outnumber any customers.
You have a lot more homeless people. You have less people walking around because nobody's working in the offices. So the percentage-wise, it looks like it's a homeless town at this point.
Several other counties are also falling back. No county is moving forward. California health officials say reasons behind the increase in COVID-19 cases depend on the area, but they all have one factor in common.
Consistently, we hear across all of the counties concern around private gatherings.
California Health and Human Services Secretary Mark Galey says he understands the dilemma for business owners, but says they have to get a handle on the upward trend.
Making sure that it doesn't have the horrific impact in California that we've seen in other parts of the nation and other parts of the globe is protecting our broad sense of public health, which includes our economic health.
Not much comfort to Gazarian, who has 20 employees and a family to support.
If November is as bad as October, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to make it.
Rachel Bianco, ABC 10 News.
Now, restaurants are allowed to do takeout. In addition to San Diego, several other counties across California are also falling back to more restrictive tiers. Sacramento and Stanislaus moved into the purple tier. Amador, Contra Costa, El Dorado, Placer, and Santa Cruz are reverting to the red tier. And Modoc, Siskiyou, and Trinity are jumping back to orange.
This fall back into the purple tier for us comes right as the holiday shopping season kicks off. Our ABC 10 News reporter John Horn explains how local retailers plan to try and make it through.
Okay, here's our little knick-knack table.
Everything on this table and the table itself is on sale at One Paseo's Whiskey and Leather Boutique. Owner Ariel Hujar stocked up in anticipation of the holidays.
We're definitely starting to get more candles in and things that you can buy for friends and family.
Those, the kinds of gifts she hopes catches a customer's eye. Problem is, starting this weekend, county retailers will have to reduce their capacity to 25% as we enter the toughest tier of coronavirus restrictions.
We buy extra, so if we don't sell it during this time, it's really hard on us.
It's the latest turn in a topsy-turvy year that has seen retailers go from curbside pickup only to 50% in-store capacity, cut to 25%. At Grossmont Center's Preview Formal and Bridal, General Manager Caitlin Todd says walk-ins could soon have to be turned away. While bridal sales are up, sales of prom dresses are down 90%.
We do have to create a new way of setting up our store, but that's just what everyone's used to doing now, changing everything.
Miro Kopik, a marketing professor at SDSU, says social media marketing and offering discounts of even 5 to 10% could make the difference.
For some of these retailers, it'll be a decision between life and death of will their business go forward, and are they willing to break even to ensure that they continue versus trying to make sure they eke out a profit.
And survive into 2021. John Horn, ABC 10 News.
The state says jobs in the county's general merchandise retail stores are down about 12% from a year ago. The San Diego Unified School District is looking to bring testing into its schools. The district has a planned partnership with the medical experts at UCSD to now offer testing every 2 weeks. It would start with the students and the staff currently back on campus and expand with each new phase.
We're saying to parents that we will be confident that when your students come back onto campus, it will be safe.
Board members are meeting tonight to authorize an initial $5 million investment into the testing plan. They have decided if testing is going to be mandatory.
Physicians and dentists across San Diego County say fewer patients are coming in for routine appointments because of their fear of the coronavirus. But as ABC 10 News anchor Vanessa Van Hefty explains, putting off these appointments could do more harm than good.
All 6 super dentist locations are open in San Diego after a 2-month shutdown due to the pandemic. With new safety protocols, appointments are staggered, incoming patients are screened, everything from the ventilation to the waiting room revamped.
Dentists have always been the experts in infection control.
The California Dental Association president tells us there is minimal to no risk of transmission of COVID-19 in your dental office.
It is so safe to go to the dental office right now, and your health matters. We are so concerned about those 15% of people who are afraid to see the dentist because they don't want to contract COVID, which is so understandable. But you're putting your own health at risk, and we highly advise that you do.
The county also urging San Diegans not to delay care. At the beginning of the pandemic, health officials urged us only to go in for urgent care. Since then, the CDC has rolled out new procedures for dental and medical offices.
Overall, in terms of the numbers of patients that are refusing care, that's the highest I've ever seen it before. There's a palpable fear and worry, unfortunately, because of the ongoing pandemic.
Dr. Abby Ulalade with Sharp Reese Steely Medical Group says not taking care of yourself could put you at a higher risk for COVID transmission and complications.
Patients should definitely not be afraid to seek care. And it's also important to remember that one of the best ways that you can protect yourself from getting severe consequences from COVID is by taking care of your chronic or pre-existing conditions.
Both physicians and dentists reporting seeing more emergent cases because of the lack of proactive care caused by the pandemic. Vanessa Van Hefty, ABC 10 News.
According to Dr. Wilma Wooten, there have only been 2 outbreaks related to dental offices in San Diego County. Together, these outbreaks represented a total of just 7 cases, and all were staff. You can keep up with the latest news on the coronavirus by downloading our free mobile app. Just go to the App Store and search 10 News. Roads are opening back up in North Park after a gas leak earlier today. We were on scene as crews worked to cap a leak on the main pipe on Redwood Street. It happened around 11 this morning. Police had to shut down the area near the intersection of Redwood and Ale Street. SDG&E crews have been on scene all afternoon. There's no word yet on what caused the leak.
Your voice, your vote. The race for the District 2 seat on the County Board of Supervisors is still too close to call. Close being the important word here. The registrar just released updated numbers just a few minutes ago. Here is the latest. Joel Anderson now leads Steve Voss, but get this, by just 7 votes. Both are Republicans. The next vote count update will be tomorrow after 5 p.m. President-elect Joe Biden says he is moving forward, putting his plans in place despite the fact that President Trump is still refusing to accept the election results. ABC's Rena Roy shows how the administration has ground the transition to a halt.
It's been 4 days since Joe Biden was projected president-elect, yet still no acknowledgement from President Trump that he's lost. Instead, he's been uncharacteristically out of the public eye as Joe Biden prepares to lead the country. The president-elect has addressed the American people daily with calls for unity and focusing on issues his administration will need to deal with immediately, like the coronavirus pandemic, the economy, and the future of the Affordable Care Act.
This doesn't need to be a partisan issue. It's a human issue. The consequences of the Trump administration's argument are not academic or an abstraction. For many Americans, they are a matter of life and death in a literal sense.
Meanwhile, the Trump team and most Republicans in Congress remain defiant. The latest demand calling for a full hand recount in Georgia, a state where Trump is trailing and Biden's lead is growing. The president's campaign has also filed numerous lawsuits, but federal and state judges have found no evidence of voter fraud.
It's not unusual. Should not be alarming.
And in another sign, Republicans and the current White House are refusing to accept reality. There's this from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
There will be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration.
The General Services Administration, which facilitates the transition of any new president, also refusing to recognize Biden's victory, withholding crucial transition resources.
I'm confident that the fact that they're not willing to acknowledge we won at this point is not of much consequence in our planning and what we're able to do between now and January 20th.
And in an unprecedented move going against longstanding government policy, Attorney General William Barr authorizing federal prosecutors to investigate credible allegations of voter fraud before states have even finished counting ballots.
The Biden team has slammed Barr, saying American democracy is stronger than any partisan political scheme. Rena Roy, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
And this just in, the Washington Post and several other media outlets are now reporting that the whistleblower behind the Trump campaign's allegation of voter fraud in Pennsylvania now says he made it up. The postal workers said a postmaster told workers to backdate ballots mailed after Election Day, but today that worker told the Inspector General it wasn't true. The allegation is what led Attorney General William Barr to authorize federal prosecutors to look into allegations of voting irregularities.